Well, hello there. My name is Dave Vila. I want to welcome you to this new edition of News and Views, broadcast by Access LaPorte County on Public Access TV Channel 99. We are a weekly public opinion program addressing local, state, and national topics and issues of interest to the Michigan City and surrounding areas. Opinions are the views and the responsibilities of making the comments and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of this program or its producers. We will adhere to broadcast rules, but absolutely no one's First Amendment rights of freedom. Come on in. No one's absolutely right of freedom of speech can be either muzzled nor denied. Any unauthorized use of the accounts, descriptions, and events of this program without the express written consent of Larry Curlier Schmo or that guy that just waved through the door is strictly prohibited. We hope you enjoy the program, the discussion, and the topics. So, ladies and gentlemen, I got a loaded show, but we're going to start first with some prominent, pertinent information that pertains to everybody who resides in the state of Indiana. Bob?
Yeah, well, I did a little work on the elimination for a 30-day period of the Indiana sales tax on gasoline. The Indiana sales tax currently sets at 7%. That tax has been eliminated at the retail level. So when you fill up, assuming that the retailers did this properly, you should see a 7% reduction based on the price that you pay at the pump. Now, under a normal circumstance, if you would have paid $30 for that purchase, at this point you will save $2.10, or you should be paying about $27.90 for the same purchase. This goes throughout the state of Indiana, and under some emergency powers that were granted maybe more than 30 years ago by the state legislature, when the state legislature is not in session. The state also did an analysis of this on a statewide basis, and they came up with a number of 17 cents per gallon that you will be saving on each gallon of gasoline that you purchase. Now, nowhere did I read that this is applicable to diesel.
Nope.
It's only applicable to gasoline.
Yep.
So as a result of that, Governor Braun has said that he will recheck this after 30 days, and it expires currently May the 8th, and I think he'd like to install it for another 30 days, which would be really nice for summer driving, and hopefully he'll be able to do that. I also took a look at some of the other gas taxes you pay on gasoline. First of all, there is a federal gas tax at 18.4 cents per gallon. Obviously, the state legislature or the governor has nothing to do with that. That's federal. There is a state excise tax of 36 cents per gallon, but that's not under his emergency powers to be able to change. And there is a state use tax of 17.2%, which I think is the amount that the state sets aside to be rebated to the individual units of government, city, town, county, for work on a road system. So I have a feeling they would not like to reduce that either, because they do need to get these roads fixed. Certainly in LaPorte. Now, the state excise tax is another question. I just traveled down 2 blocks off of Lincoln Way. Oh, those roads are awful.
Let's go.
It is amazing.
Let's look at
that such a small town like LaPorte could create such fantastic traffic jams. I have never seen anything like it.
Traffic is good. Now, let's look at the aggregate here.
Okay.
So, taking away the gas tax is going to cost $50 million a month.
Yeah.
Do you think that when they lose $50 million, or 2 months is $100 million, where are they going to cut? Because we already just went through this show, multiple shows, that INDOT, Indiana Department of Transportation, has cut hundreds of projects because you don't have enough funding. Governor Braun wants to spend $1 billion on a bypass in his town of Jasper, Indiana, way far southwest. Where are they going to cut $100 million? We've got potholes all over the place. It's been a tough winter. We've got potholes that are getting huge on 94. We got potholes on 65. These are major federal interstates which have transportation across this country. Get ready, folks. I mean, we might like 17 cents, but wait, here's what I'm thinking. Now, I pushed this on the show. I've talked to state reps. I've talked to state senators. Please, instead of this gas tax, which goes up, right? As the gas gets more expensive, the tax goes up. It's a percentage. Could we please think about indexing, and this might be hard to follow. Say we start at $3 a gallon. If gas goes up, for every 10 cents it goes up, the tax goes down a penny. For every 10 cents it goes down under $3, the tax goes up a penny. Because logic clear, I mean, believe me, I'm on 94. When gas is at $4.30, I can tell you traffic is down 30%. 984, the Borman, not near what it is when gas is at $3. So it makes sense. People drive more miles when the gas is less. So if you index it, as the price gets cheaper, the tax goes up. We don't get hurt because it's not hurting us when as the tax gets higher, as the price gets higher, the tax gets higher. It's exponential at that point. But I don't know how they could understand. So again, if we would index gas at $3, as the gas goes up 10 cents, the tax goes down a penny. As the gas goes down 10 cents, it goes up a penny. So if you go from $3 to $2, it goes up 10 cents. If you go from $3 to $4, it goes down 10 cents. And then we all work out because we drive more miles at lesser gas price, we drive less miles at the upward price, and it all will work out. And we don't have to have the governor and, again, the legislature. I tell you, they're going to have to find $100 million, and it ain't going to be fun because we got to fix these roads. We've got to fix our roads.
I don't disagree at all with Tony. With that, we've got to fix these roads and these streets. But what I would suggest is, since this was done under an emergency act, now the powers of the governor to release funds from the rainy day fund, that I think will be the way they handle it. They're going to have to go over this legally. Could they do that without an act of the state legislature?
No.
If they can't, then they either will have to call an emergency meeting of the state legislature, or what I think will happen is they will kind of go ahead with the programs they've got for this year. Next year, they will go to the legislature and ask for an emergency draw on the rainy day fund in order to replenish the numbers.
At an amount of $1.1 billion, because you have to replace the $100 million plus the $1 billion he wants for his bypass.
Yeah.
I mean, I said it before, I do not think the government is in any way should be saving money back in a rainy day fund. We know what the rainy day is. We went through COVID. We know what that is. $2 billion, and this is clearly a Democrat issue in the state of Indiana. They say this over and over again. Why is the government playing banker with our money? If they need more money, they can tax us. I agree, this $2 billion that we're holding should go to teachers and go to roads. And I don't want to go how deep. I've been this week in roads in a tiny little project with the Department of Transportation, the State Department of Transportation. If you understood the administration, the nonsense, the lack of common sense, the rules and the codes they have, I can tell you, I can guarantee you, we could reduce the cost to fixing roads and building roads in the state of Indiana by at least 30, maybe 50%. If we would streamline the nonsense that goes on statewide, and some of this is federal mandated, which now the Republicans control, the state, the federal, and the president, let's streamline. But the last thing I want to say is, I didn't see anything in here about Governor Braun looking at Northwest Indiana, because we understand that he's not the friend of Northwest Indiana, about taking away the blend.
I tend to disagree with that, but go right
Taking
ahead.
away the blend that we are saddled with. You could drive to South Bend and you see their prices are a lot lower. You could drive just south of, say, Lafayette, and you'll see the prices are, they don't have the same unique blend that Northwest Indiana is saddled with Chicago. I don't know what the costs are, but I would say it's probably another maybe 30 cents, because we're coming into summer and we have to have this summer blend, and that is a unique blend for the Chicago area, which we in Northwest Indiana and Michigan City is saddled with. I didn't see the governor say anything. That could have been 30 cents, maybe saved us 50 cents a gallon if he would petition the federal government to get rid of this nonsense unique blend. He petitioned the federal government to put tolls on the road. Couldn't he petition the federal government to take us out of the attainment zone in Chicago so we could have the same blend of gas as South Bend? We could drive right over South Bend and save, what, 15, 20 cents?
Well,
I don't know.
well, to go along with what Tony's saying is we are trapped in this situation not only because of Chicago, but also because of the situation here 30, 40, 50 years ago with the steel mills and a number of other industrial situations where we really had a situation with bad air.
Yes, we did.
That has been corrected.
Yes.
But in order to get this fixed, the governor can't control that. What he can do is send a delegation to the Environmental Protection Agency and see if they can get us transferred out of this into the regular situation with the state of Indiana in terms of the blends that we have to use for gasoline.
Yeah,
That he could do.
the steel mills did clean up their act.
Finally, yes.
And if you ever down 94, 65, and you really pay attention to intersections, sometimes you will see a vehicle or a station set up, and it looks kind of funny. They are measuring air quality. And every study I've read in the last 5 years said our air quality is getting far better. But what's funny is they're measuring air quality at an interchange on 65 and 94. Where do you think the air would be worst? Oh, at the interchanges. They're not measuring the air quality in South County Porter or South Lake County or South LaPorte County. They're taking it at the spot that's the worst possible place to test for air quality and saying, oh, the rest of this area, the rest of Northwest Indiana has a problem with their air because we stuck it on the Borman where hundreds of thousands of exhaust pipes are pumping out air. What number do they think they get? Oh, the same number the EPA is looking for, the one that keeps us in the attainment zone and a special blend. The governor, just like he's going to ask for tolls, should go right to the president, the Federal Transportation, the EPA, and says, take us out of the attainment zone. I want to save my Northwest Indiana people 20, 25, 30 cents a gallon over and above any tax. And maybe, I don't know why he doesn't understand this is a very smart move, maybe if he saves us 30 cents, he could take 10 cents and get 27 cents a gallon and fix our roads instead of sending it to the people who pay, we buy gas from, who do these special blends for Northwest Indiana. I mean, it's so easy. The common sense is so easy, but somehow we can't do it.
Well, one more that I'm going to bring up, but I'm really not doing this cynically. It's just something that needs to be done in this county. Along with the bypass around Jasper, Indiana, we ought to be going in there and asking for money for the bypass around the city of LaPorte instead of having all these truck drivers drive right down the main street, block traffic.
That's bad.
Why don't we go in and ask for a bypass around LaPorte?
They have one, and it's designed. And
Well, yeah, they voted it down.
No, and NDOT is going to push it through.
Oh, okay.
And the commissioners, bless their hearts, are saying no way. Because those people out in the farm, should they take care of all the semi-traffic that LaPorte gets stuck with? That's not fair either. Let's take all the semi-traffic that runs down LaPorte and throw it out in the farm fields, and too bad, suckers, you guys get it. We don't want it in downtown. I don't know what you do, but I'm the one of thinking that we are spending all this money on bypasses or new roads or more lanes or whatever we're doing on 94.
Drive-arounds, but go ahead.
But we need to be worried about what's going to happen in 5 or 10 years. Everything we're doing now is completely outdated in 5 or 10 years. You will have vehicles that will drive inches from each other, and with no one in them or somebody sitting in them, we won't need 4 or 5 lanes on I-70. We won't need 5 lanes, 6 lanes on 94 on the Borman. We'll need 3. Oh, but we spent billions, and here we go again. We've spent billions and billions of dollars on roads that should have cost hundreds of millions, wasted that money over a bunch of administrative codified nonsense that doesn't do anything to protect it other than somebody gets to shovel paperwork and gets to keep a job and the governor gets to appoint them. So, I don't think LaPorte, I am not a proponent of the bypass of LaPorte. I do think we should narrow Lincoln Way down to 2 lanes, a turn lane, and some right in and right out, And if the semis don't
That's
like
going
it,
to create an even bigger traffic jam.
if the
than we have
semis don't like to get stuck in there, don't come down there. Go down Highway 20, go down 30. Stop driving through LaPorte.
Come to one of Michigan City's retail outlets than one of LaPorte's retail outlets. Now, I think that's really a good idea. We could just move everybody into the Michigan City retail outlets and let LaPorte have the county seat. That's it.
Gentlemen, when will it be my turn?
When
Bring
I
it on.
finish talking about early voting.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah, this is it. You get the vote.
Oh,
Voting's
that's-
open.
Yes.
that falls into what I've got leading up to.
Polls opened on April the 7th. The registration ended on April 6th, so if you're not registered to vote, you're not going to be able to. But we have two polls that are open for early voting, one in Michigan City, one in LaPorte. The one in Michigan City is on the corner of Wabash and 8th Street. The one in LaPorte is at the fairgrounds. The hours of operation are from 8 in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Mondays and Tuesdays, Thursdays and Fridays. The hours of operation on Tuesdays are from 10 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night. So take advantage of going in and being able to vote early. You can vote in either one of these two places. It doesn't matter where you reside in the county, as long as you reside in the county. I'd go into it a little further, but there's two things that I really need to mention, and then I'll let Dave have his say. In order to vote, you have to bring an ID with you. It has to be a government-issued ID. Driver's licenses work, but make sure they're up to date. They cannot be expired. Passports also. If you bring a passport, that's valid because it's government-issued, U.S. government, but it cannot be expired. So make sure that what the ID you bring with you is not expired. As long as you've got that photograph, that works. Dave and I have another type, which is a U.S. government Veterans Administration issued ID card. That would work also. But that will get you in, and when you get in, because this is a primary in the state of Indiana, you have to declare the party that you want to vote in. At this point, it's either Republican or Democrat. If you're confused about the candidates, and we can talk more about this in a future session, they will hang on the walls the list of candidates that are running for each office. So if you're confused about offices or candidates that are running for those offices, before you vote, feel free to ask to go up and take a look at these. I'm sure a judge will be more than happy to allow that to happen. Now, what happens when you get inside is the clerk will look up your name, your address, and see if that reconciles with the voter registration list. If it does, you will be allowed to vote. If it doesn't, you may wind up having to sign an affidavit. You will have to return in 10 days to vote with that affidavit to the courthouse. If you still can vote validly, you change your name, you change your address, you'll still be allowed to vote. And I'll pass it to Dave unless people have questions about some of the other.
Those are
voting
easy
situations.
locations, quick and easy. You
Yeah.
can go in anytime. Great, easy spots. Lots of parking.
No, I want to follow up with what Bob is talking about, why it's important to vote to exercise your constitutional rights. Okay? You elect people to office who may be of marginal intelligence, who then appoint people to selective boards and commissions who may be of questionable intelligence.
There's some smart people, elected officials, and some
There
smart.
are smart ones. I'm not criticizing all of them.
No, there's some.
No, there are some, because I've been in communication with some extremely smart people here within the city. But yet you've got individuals who just sit there and nod their head and draw a paycheck. I've been on an issue for a long time, ladies and gentlemen, dealing with an entity who has a bunch of appointed officials sitting on a board making financial decisions. I have in front of me a report from Mike Rosenbaum.
You tell them who Mike Rosenbaum is.
He's the LaPorte County Auditor. And in 1972, the city of Michigan City entered into an agreement with the LaPorte County to take over the maintenance of cleaning out ditches and giving the responsibility of bridge maintenance and
Yep.
and maintenance and
Ditches for bridges.
right, gave that to the county. The city of Michigan City agreed to. That's 54 years ago. 54 times plus how many meetings they have throughout the year. These individuals make decisions. Those decisions revolve around the almighty dollar. We have here in the city of Michigan City, since 1972, 3 wards, the 2nd Ward, the 3rd Ward, and the 4th Ward, that contribute to this ditch cleaning fund. Last year,
Wait a minute, you got to tell them where this money comes from, because Bob was asking, and you'll do a little homework. In your taxes, there's money earmarked specifically on tax bills in Michigan City for this fund.
correct. I apologize because I've been on this thing so long that I forget.
But it's not, that money is paid throughout the city of Michigan City. It's not earmarked for the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th wards.
No, I
Michigan
didn't
City.
say that. I didn't say
But that
that.
could have been misinterpreted, that's all I'm saying.
Oh, okay, yeah, I didn't say that. The residents, some of the individuals in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th may be on limited income, maybe live at the poverty level, and every dollar that they could save would benefit them to feed their family and so on. But of course, they are mandated to pay this tax for ditch cleaning. All right, in 2025, the Michigan City Sanitary District received from the county relating to ditch digging projects $550,425. Ditch related money.
We've been pretty close, 500 grand.
Yeah, ditch related money.
Ditch maintenance.
And their draw in 2026 will be $572,896. Now, I have here, going back 20 years from the auditor, how much money that was paid to the sanitary district for ditch maintenance. Do you guys have any idea of how much money over the last 54 years were paid to the Michigan City Sanitary District for ditch maintenance?
We could have built a very strong storm sewer,
25 million.
sanitary sewers and water lines. We didn't do it. And I don't want to sit here for another 20 years and the same thing hasn't been done, but go ahead.
Okay, all right.
You will.
Putting things into perspective,
We all will.
during that 54-year period, $40,788,833.53. 40 million. That's roughly, well, if you divide 52 into 40 million, who cares about this? But we've got unelected officials making decisions, sitting there. I wouldn't say kiting money. I wouldn't say stealing money. But I would say misappropriations of funds for something that they know basically nothing about, because they were appointed by some elected official who might have a limited intelligence quotient to maybe count to 3.
Well, there's an engineer on that board. He's very smart. Tim Warren.
I
He's on the board.
have talked. That's one of
on the board.
the positive individuals I have talked to. He has reservations about this concept, but again, he's only one vote.
Yeah.
You've got other people. You've got a banker that is sitting there that lives in Long Beach, I believe. You've got other individuals who may reside in the West Side, but they don't know anything about this particular concept. What I'm saying is the entire city has to be under one umbrella. And so we're all pulling on the same oar, so to speak. But I have documentation to prove over the last 54 years in regards to cleaning out ditches, the city of the residents of the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Ward, where the majority of the ditches are being shortchanged. I could go on and I could go on and I could go on, but the last sanitary district meeting, Maybe it was attributed to a letter and pictures that I sent to Indiana Department of Environmental Management. Because I'm at the point right now, I can't go any further. I can't stumble any further. But the Michigan City Sanitary District at its meetings on an occasional basis brings up local technical assistant program generated by Purdue University that talks about water flow and talks about this and talks about that. In that report, and in the letter that I got from IDEM, and in the IDEM inquiry to the Michigan City Sanitary District, they were informed that they are responsible to clean out and maintain ditches here in the city of Michigan City. On the 25th meeting of the Sanitary District, Mr. Al Wallace stood up in his report and he said, one of the issues that we're going to address this year in 2026 is the maintenance of ditches on the west side of Michigan City. Now, the yelling that I have done for the last 10 years on this issue bore no fruit. Okay, because I tried to keep it quiet at the local level, and maybe some of these unelected, unintelligent people who sit on these boards looked at me and said, who the hell are you? Well, I'm a resident in the city of Michigan City who had water in her basement since 1970. And when I moved to a new location further down on Ohio Street, guess what? I had water in my basement. But I bring it to the attention of the sanitary district. They laugh at me, or they look at me, you know, he doesn't know anything. Well, yes, I know a lot. We have individuals sitting in the sanitary district that knows a lot, absolutely nothing about everything. The Strebel Pond concept is an impediment to the water flow running down to Lake Michigan. There's a 64-foot in Tony's design. It was 51 in Tony's research. It was
2018 LiDAR shows 51.
Right, but I'm saying that there are little islands in the center of Strebel Pond that I counted in this elevation. Okay, Strebel Pond is a deterrent to the flow. It's just a retention pond.
Yeah, it's actually holding water. It's holding water back. It's impounding water, which normally would have went downstream another 40 feet down.
Correct. The Monon Railroad, the base of the Monon Railroad track running north and south, where the water flows into like a little bitty waterfall, into a nice little pond. The environmentalists would like that. You know, well, that looks nice. But the fact of the matter is the state of Indiana came in because they knew they had a water problem in Weatherstone Village, and they then addressed that water problem in Weatherstone Village by lowering the culvert under Highway 20 3 feet. So that allowed more accumulation of water to come in. Except they stopped just north of Highway 20. So this accumulation of water...
Yeah, they stopped at their right-of-way. They're not going to go beyond their right-of-way.
Right. So the state of Indiana started something. The city of Michigan City did not pick up after that. And that was a deterrent to the flow of water. And it created this waterfall. So all you environmentalists go out and take pretty pictures. You see birds. You see ducks. I've seen a couple ducks. You may even see, I've seen a couple dead fish in this pond.
That pond does have some significant environmental problems, but go ahead. No, that's why they don't have fish in it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's why. Yeah, that's why they're dead.
An environmental problem.
But if you
we know what was in there.
If you read the technical assistance program produced by Purdue University, it in reference to ditch cleaning and environmental hazards to eliminate. Well, anyway, the sanitary district throws this in your face. I'm waiting for them to throw this in my face, and I've got documentation to back me up that they're not doing their job. So they're not doing their job in regards to this technical program. They're not doing their job with the flow of water down to Lake Michigan, regardless, somewhere between 51 feet and 64 feet. I have said in the past, water runs uphill in Michigan City, and I can prove it.
Well, we hold it uphill.
We hold it uphill.
The local technical advisory the LTAP, they call that the LTAP manual, was created by a very smart and very ingenious, Indiana LTAP was created by a very smart and very ingenious person at Purdue as his master's thesis, and that was Christopher Burke. And then Christopher Burke went on to form the Christopher Burke Company out of Purdue, and at one point Al Wallace was working for Christopher Burke. They're a good company. They're quite environmentally sound. Their founder, which I don't know if he's involved anymore, authored the LTAP manual. Now, the LTAP manual has some good stuff in it, but the LTAP manual is about, I don't know, 350, 400 pages. And if you look at the LTAP manual, and if you're going to follow the LTAP manual, 40 million ain't enough. 40 million ain't half enough. Again, back to the administrative nonsense paperwork. If you're going to follow the LTAP manual, you will get nothing done. And I was just thinking, we had 40 million since 1972. I think I know where 22 million went. Because isn't that what it cost to build Streetle Pond? Oh, we're so bad.
Now, in regard...
I got one little comparison. All you have to do is go to the other side of Michigan City. Actually, it's beyond the city limits. And there's a pond there that probably holds about 10, 15 times the gallons of water that Streetle Pond holds. It's called Clay Ditch, or Clay Pit. It's part natural and part human-made. But it sits right there. It was used for probably 70 years to get clay out of in order to make bricks for Michigan City. Mm-hmm. All they had to do was go take a look at this and see how they could manufacture something like that on the west side of Michigan City. It's on the east side, but I don't think it's in the city limits. I think it's either in Trail Creek or the county. Go ahead.
Well, I've got a solution.
I do too.
Go ahead. Yeah, I got a solution. And the solution, like Tony said, revolves around funding. Well, in 2028, under the umbrella of the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission, 3 bonds will expire.
Oh, we can't have that. We got to make new ones. Go ahead. Because if all the bonds expire in the redevelopment district, TIF district, they have to disband. But anyways, go ahead.
They won't. I'm only talking about 2028.
Okay.
3 bonds that expire in 2028.
Okay.
There are other bonds here. One will expire in 2039 and 2040, 2048, 2040. There are other bonds that will, they'll pick up the slack. Okay? But we have 3 bonds. And in reading the report that was put out by
Baker Tilly. And wait, when did they put this report out? And why did they put this report out?
Tuesday night when I attended the Michigan City Council meeting, and I brought this. I brought a rough my tongue is tied. I brought a rough outline, and I made my presentation to the city of Michigan City in regards to this $40,788,833.35 income that's coming into the sanitary district that the 3 wards are not benefiting from. I brought that to the city council's attention and to the council people up there, and I pointed specifically to a few of them. Whether they listen to me or not, I said, some of the people were looking down, I don't know, looking at their toes or looking at their whatever they were doing. And I said, listen up, people. Okay, I'm at the point of telling the city council of Michigan City to listen up because I'm fed up with this concept. In this report that was put out by Baker Tilly, the purpose of the TIF district is to finance incentives and infrastructure needed to induce private investment, to encourage orderly economic growth in targeted areas, and this is the key, to redevelop blighted areas. I have 3 wards that have had no ditch cleaning at all. The water table is extremely high. Water is running into the people's basements. You've got factories moving into this area that have to pump out their parking lot so that their trailers can be exposed away from the elements. Don't you think that there is a concept there, just a remote concept? Don't you think there's a remote concept there that could prove that the second areas within the second areas now, I'm specific, areas within the,
You need to read that line.
what does it say? By April the 15th of each year? A reminder, this report must be presented at the council meeting.
Has that ever happened?
Well, it,
Just now, didn't it?
no. All right, back in 2022, I was at the city council meeting, and I've got state law that mandates these annual reports to be filed by the entity, regardless of whether it's
And that line.
in that line. And I said that in 2022. The Gateway project started in 2010. And from 2010 to 2022, there were no reports given to Gateway as to how much revenue is coming in from the TIF district and so on. The Redevelopment Commission violated state law. They did not do their proper procedure. But after I spoke up, lo and behold, in 2024, the first report was issued on the TIF district.
Was it presented to the city council?
No, in 2024, yes.
Okay.
Because I gave Bob the information for him to, to scrutinize the report, and it said very little, if anything. But it was at least an attempt was made. If I hadn't spoken up, probably this report that I have in my hand today would have never been generated.
And that report you're holding, that thing you read, it was highlighted in a different color to make sure they understood that.
Yeah. So
Baker Tilly made a point of telling them you have to do this.
yes. Now, based on the 2025 amount of revenue coming in to the TIF district, over 803 million dollars? No, whatever that amount is, 8.3 million dollars. 8.3 million. The Michigan City Redevelopment Commission took in $8.3 million. Okay? Over the last 4 years, the Michigan City Redevelopment took in $32+ million. The Michigan City Sanitary District spent, kited, reappropriated, misappropriated to the tune of roughly $550,000 a year for the last 40 years. That equates to $40-some million. A pattern, in my mind, has been established to only apply the funds to the projects that they determine are relevant. That issue should be an entire umbrella over the city of Michigan City, and when funds are delegated to a specific project, that project must be completed. Going back to Kinsel Ditch. Kinsel Ditch is a court-dedicated waterway that was started prior to 1972, prior to the time that the city of Michigan City took over the water. The sanitary district at that time created a man-made structure going through the west side of Michigan City. The headwaters of Kinsel Ditch is right behind Mount Baldy. That could be a contributing factor. There are so many issues that were started prior to 1972 that have been ignored for the last 54 years. Don't you think that that would fall under the umbrella of a blighted area? We've got individuals on the west side of town that still have sand in their basement. They cannot have a basement because when the water rises, if it was a concrete floor, the water rises. For that water to recede or percolate back down into the ground, it would take longer than just for the sand, just for the water to just circulate down through the sand. I've seen property. I owned a property on the west side of town that I sold to the South Shore, and a portion of its basement was sand, and it was elevated out of the ground like about 4 or 5 feet. I mean, common sense would tell you that the people who reside in areas of the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Ward who pay for a service for the last 54 years should at least benefit from the money that they pay. And you're saying, Bob is saying, oh, Michigan City is progressing. Yeah, it is. On the backs of who? On the backs of who? The 2nd Ward people, the 3rd Ward, and the 4th Ward people who have no concept of what's going on with their tax bill. Bob's comment about how important elections are. Here are 2 examples. What's $40.78 million? What's 32 plus $1 million in 4 years? What is that? It is to benefit the rich, or should it benefit the entire city? On April 22nd, I've got a meeting set up. Tony is coming, and I know a few other people may be coming to listen to this concept and listen to Mr. Wallace's defense and the sanitary district's defense of their ineptness. Gentlemen, I rest my case.
Well, I want to show you this page from the Baker-Tilly report. And you can probably see it on the camera. I think this is the saddest chart, which we have talked about, and Bob can talk about this. You see on the bottom there's a gray box. That is the money in the TIF district prior to the TIF that is going to everyone in Michigan City. The schools, the fire, the police, and every other entity. The blue box, the blue highlighted line, you see it going straight up, is the money that's going to the redevelopment commission that is not going now to the fire, the police, the school, and any other offering we need in Michigan City. The saddest part, that's sad enough in this chart. The saddest part about it you can't see on the bottom, and this orange thing you see, the orange box you see, is what Baker-Tilly is saying the state has told everybody in TIF, because we've been this through on multiple shows. TIF districts were started in California. California realized they did not do what they were supposed to. They got rid of them. They were gone. So California no longer has TIF districts. But the orange box you see there is what Baker-Tilly is saying that law says that, and the bottom you can't see, says after 25 years, this TIF district goes away. Unless, which I thought I made a point, unless they keep having bond after bond after bond after bond, because they cannot get rid of a TIF district by law until the bonds are paid off. So what does everyone do? They create another bond, another 25 years, another 100 years. The city school, the city police and fire will never see that gray box. They'll never see that money in the blue box, in my opinion. It'll never, ever, ever happen unless the state comes back and says, listen, we're done. The bonds you have today are the only bonds you can have. You have 25 years to get together what you've been doing and make your city progress. That's why I'm giving it to Bob, because this money, which we all agree, school districts getting shortchanged, the fire department, which I think they're still in union contracts for, the police department, they still aren't getting there because look, the money's going in the TIF district. Of course they're not going to get a raise. The money's sitting in a $32 million in an account. I mean, sorry, but here we go, that until, if you, and I agree the city's doing some progress, but have they done, and I've said this before, have they done $250 million in cash? Have they done $500 million in finance money since the TIF district's been created? Do you see $500 million somewhere around Michigan City in funds that could be working? We're seeing some 11th Street. Do you see $500 million? I don't see it. I'm glad they paved the alleys. I'm glad they're trying to pave the streets. I'm glad they're giving away money to everyone who wants some abatement or some new street over behind the theater. That's not $500 million. And the school's suffering. And when the school suffers, everyone in Michigan City does not move forward because you have to pay. And there was, that's why I bring up, there's a news story in South Bend, and they asked the South Bend, I believe the South Bend School District, why they don't have any problems with getting the best teachers. And the superintendent says, you know, because we decided we're going to give raises and as best we can to all the teachers. And the teachers, we will hire the best, we will retain the best. They understand. Just like we saw in Michigan City when we couldn't get lifeguards, guess what? We gave them a lot of raise. We stole every lifeguard from around the Lake Michigan back into Michigan City. But that can't happen in Michigan City because we've trapped the money in the TIF district. And unless the law changes, I can guarantee you that bond year will keep going up and up and up, and it will never, ever stop.
Well, as it appears...
Now, wait a minute. Just let an old man kind of talk about the flow.
Hey, I'm old too.
Not as old as I am. Now, let an old man talk about the flow here. We've heard about these bond issues. They keep issuing them, and they keep issuing them. And what have I said for about the last 3 or 4 years on this program? We need to get in on that for the west side. We need to build a sanitary sewer, a storm sewer, and water lines where they don't have it or where they are totally dilapidated and fill that in. What you need is a bond issue to handle that.
I agree.
And as
I don't agree. We don't need another bond.
No,
we could take the $32 million. We could save the money.
Let me tell you why, though.
How much do you pay on the bond? What's the percentage on the bond?
Probably about 5 to 6%.
So what's 5% of $10 million?
Well,
500,000?
Yeah, something like that.
So for a 20-year bond, we're going to lose millions of dollars that we could have put in the ground.
Whoa. The money we lost because we didn't put storm sewers and sanitary sewers on the west side 20 years ago is the problem. They call that a sunk cost. We can't get that back. We got that money.
So we got to dig a bigger hole.
No, we don't have to dig a
Yeah, because we're paying interest.
We got to put the storm sewers and the sanitary sewers in there.
We're paying more interest.
If you're going to develop the west side, you're going to have to do that, and now is probably the time
How much
to
does
start.
redevelopment have in their bank?
They got about $14 to $15 million.
Well, $14 million. We don't need a bond. We'll just take their money and build it.
$10 million.
$10 million. We'll just build it again.
No, that's the start.
Not
building the whole thing.
But again, in politics, there's room for compromise. Okay.
Okay, you take half and you bond. You take half the money.
The last bond at the current level will expire. That's a $32 million bond. Will expire in 1948. There is no reason why, and I believe I've read that you can establish bonds for less than that 25-year period. You can establish a bond, a TIF bond, for less. You haven't established.
But wait, what's the max?
Well, that I don't know.
25 years.
The max is 25 years, but you can bond
and
for.
What do we bond for?
You could bond
25 years.
25 years. You could bond for less. You know, but these people in their these unelected, unintelligent individuals want the max.
Poor Bob.
Let's talk about how we're going to use that money. What are the alternatives that we have?
Wait. First, we have to agree we need to fix the infrastructure on the west side.
Yeah.
And we need to spend the money. Okay.
Yeah.
How do we do it?
Or we need to fix some of it. But I think there's quite a bit of it. We need to fix on the west side. But we keep it up by not putting the money where we need to put it. You need to put it into storm sewers, into sanitary sewers, and into water lines in this day and age. Now, the reason I put them all together is because I only want to dig one hole.
Yeah.
Let's don't dig a hole for each one of these. As a result of that, if you bond out for $10 to $12 million, which I think they're going to have the capacity to do, you could get a very nice start and probably clear up some of the significant problems in Village Green and some of the significant problems on the west side. Now, just because they got sand in their basement does not mean that the problem is that they flow in from the rainwater. I happen to know a little bit about this because my family homestead is 313 Willard Avenue. When my grandfather bought that house...
What kind of basements are they called?
I forgot.
Michigan basements.
Michigan basements.
I call them Lake Michigan basements. I had one too.
Time out. When my
I had 2 of
grandfather
them.
bought that house, it had sand in its basement. My aunt and uncle were the last 2 people to live there. He bought the house in 1886.
Woo.
When my aunt and uncle moved out of there, they still had sand in the basement.
Oh, I've had two houses with sand, Michigan basement. So you had a little hole, and then half of the basement was sand.
Well, in this case, they had two cemented over places. The first place was where they had the furnace.
Yep.
The furnace sat on cement.
Yeah.
The next place was where they put all the canned jelly, tomatoes, fruits, because they always had these big, huge gardens.
Yeah. My
The rest
basement
of
was
it
worse. I had bricks in my basement. I didn't have concrete in the bottom.
Oh, okay.
It was old.
What I'm saying is, what you have to do is compare this, and I think you would find that probably at least determining that Village Green and some of the situations on the west side badly need to get storm sewers and sanitary sewers and water lines. And start with that. And 10 million will go a long way as a start. Now, make sure that you stay within the city limits. It's going to be very easy sometimes to go outside the city limits. We should not do that with a starting point. Maybe later when the outside of Michigan City gets developed, but we should stick with inside the city limits and certainly inside the county limits.
Yeah, we've done this in the county. I've done this in other municipalities. We don't usually and none of us can afford to get the whole enchilada here. So in the municipalities, sometimes, and I've done this a few times in LaPorte County and other municipalities, where we have this big project and say it costs $1 million. Well, we can only afford $300,000, and I tell them we can do $300,000 worth of work, and it will give you a sizable, an effective solution. And every project I've done, typically they're about 30% of what you could cost. They've gotten about 70% of the solution, which is a great start. If you just start
And that's
somewhere,
what I'm talking about.
if you do a third of the project, you're probably going to see 70% of the solution. But in Michigan City and most other municipalities, they refuse to do that because the engineers or the people they talk to refuse to say, we want to do a project, part of the project, even though we know it won't affect the whole solution, because they want the whole solution tidied up and wrapped up in a nice little bow and everything fixed to the nth degree. And that costs a lot of money. I mean, look at Michigan City has two main roads. Michigan Boulevard, which we got from NDOT with some money. NDOT won that little negotiation way over. So the Michigan Boulevard, we got some money and we fixed it up. We put these planters in, we paved it. You know what? It's time to pave again. Where's NDOT? Oh, that's your road, sorry. So Michigan City and most municipalities do this. They don't look at the future. They run along with what they can do this year or next year or 6 months from now. If they would have put in $500,000 or even better, $1 million into a sinking fund, knowing the day is going to come every 15 years that you've got to repave Michigan Boulevard, you need $10 million. We would have had that money. But now they're scrambling and they're doing a study for hundreds of thousands of dollars on Michigan Boulevard. Same thing happens to Franklin. If you took the money that you need to pave all of Franklin Street or Michigan Boulevard, let alone I just said you need to take it in pieces, so maybe Michigan Boulevard should have been done in 4 pieces over the next 10 years and you could have paid for that. Same with Franklin, but we tried to pave it all at once because we think we're getting the value, but we don't have the money. But when you do that, you take all the paving money for the city, at least a year, maybe 2 or 3, that nothing else gets done. But somehow we don't understand economics, and we're all politicians, ex-politicians. We don't understand the economics that we do in our regular private world. If I need a $10 million car or a $10 million house, I better start putting $500,000 in the bank for 20 years so I can afford a $10 million house. No, we wait till the last minute and wait, we need $10 million. Like you didn't see that coming. You knew that was coming. But the west side, same thing. If we would spend, I would say, if we would even spend $100,000 just spraying the ditches on the west side and getting the foliage off of them and getting them to work a little better, it would go a long ways. And then, like Bob says, we could spend some more money on separate segments and work our way to the outlet, and it would function very good. I'm not saying spend $10 million. Maybe we spend $1 million a year on each little segment, but we're going to have to be careful because if you go to the LTAP manual and you hire engineers that work nationwide, that $1 million ain't going to be a spit of what you need for any little segment. You need to hire people who have value. And that, in my opinion, better be somebody local because they should have that money locally. So I don't, the west side needs it, we agree.
Yeah.
West side needs something done. I say the first thing is to spray all the weeds and the invasive species, and environmentalists really like that. That's good. The second thing, start working on segments. Start from Ohio Street and start working north, segment by segment, and put a plan together. And I don't just say follow it. I think the council should pass a law, an ordinance, that says you have to follow it. And this money has to go to this every year. No matter what it takes, it's going to get done.
Well, I would just add this. Probably where you ought to start thinking about starting is with the most populous areas, where we have the most homes close together.
Well, we started that, you know, he says we lost $40 million. We started that on the east side. It was the most populous thing. Only got 3 minutes. And that's where all the money is gone from the $500,000 a year. It's time to start spending money on the west side.
Now, I
We
haven't...
only got 3 minutes.
Okay, well, I won't take all 3 minutes. I might take 2 minutes and 55 seconds. I have in front of me communication with a gentleman by the name of Herb Engeman, E-N-G-M-A-N. He's with IDEM, Indiana Department of Environmental Management. And he did, as a courtesy from my complaint, he sent my concerns to the Michigan City Sanitary District, informing them of their responsibilities relating to ditch cleaning. I also sent him pictures of the condition of the ditches 6-7 years ago that are in the same condition today as they were 6-7 years ago. And basically, he determined, it's here. He could determine it's the responsibility of the Michigan City Sanitary District, and so he suggested for me, if I don't get any results out of them, which I hadn't, to then go to the City Council, or
Which you did.
which I did. I went to the City Council during the Perry's administration. That's how far back I've been working on this issue. But I went again. And we now have a meeting set up on the 22nd of April that anyone who has water problems in their basement is more than welcome to attend. I want to see standing room only, and to see how the sanitary district defends itself.
Well, I hope everyone had a happy Easter. You're seeing the gas tax relief, so
Yeah.
hopefully that saves some money. Get ready for a good summer. You got 1 minute.
Well, I don't know where my closing remarks.
Summer's coming in Michigan City. Take advantage of it. There are some fantastic things here that you can do. We're going to start probably with sand sculptures, things like that. Get the kids involved. And a lot of other things will be coming along. So make sure that you get involved with it. And make sure you get your children involved with it. And next time I want to talk a little bit more about the Mississippi plan in terms of the school system.
Good point. That is a fantastic point.
Because they've now done some other things with it, and it's really proving out to be a positive.
And in closing, I want to thank everybody for watching. Your input as to improvements or criticism of this show is greatly appreciated. Please contact Shows Try co-producers Bob Pollock, Dave Bila, or Tony Hendricks with your comments. You can email Bob at skrpollock@gmail.com, Dave at djbila1@hotmail.com, or Tony at emailagem@yahoo.com. This is where my email comes from, and I'm looking forward to your phone, your emails, or talk to me personally. I want to thank, or you may direct any ideas for our future shows to our one and only staff writer, Sarah Bellum. Showing of our program will be Saturday morning at 10 a.m., also Monday and Thursday evening at 7 p.m., and numerous times on Channel 99 when they have some dead air time that they want to discuss some miscellaneous topics. You may also enjoy watching our YouTube channel, 99 Navigate News and Views, if you want to follow up and find ways to continue to criticize me for bringing out shortchanging the taxpayers of the city of Michigan City. I want to thank everybody for watching, and make it a good day.